How's it going, folks? My name is Sammy and welcome back to Sammy's Gaming Retreat. Today's episode is all about one of the best games I've played in a very long time. It just totally gripped me and I was so excited when I finished it that I played it again. I haven't done that in a long time. It's very rare for me to play a game and then finish it and play it again almost immediately. I am so enthralled with this game. I'm so excited about it, and that game is Tunic. I would love to hold it up and show you, but I played it on GamePass. There's no physical release. As far as I know, it's only on GamePass as of now, and you can buy it, of course. I can't believe how awesome this game was, and I wanted to talk about it today because I was just so excited about it and so excited about the way it made me feel and a lot of those nostalgic feelings it brought out of me. Just the way I used to feel about games when I was a kid. Let me give you some premise, just so that it's a bit easier to follow where I'm going. So if you haven't played or you don't know anything about it, that's good. I think going into this blind is definitely the way to do it, not knowing anything and not looking things up, except for this review, which I'm grateful that you're watching. But the cool way to play is to just, the cool way to play, like this is what the cool kids do. The way I'd recommend playing is not looking anything up and just going in as if it's a game that you got when you were a kid, you know, in the 90s or late 80s or early 2000s even. Imagine you're playing this game and you don't have access to internet. So the way the game works is, as you're going, you actually collect pieces of the instruction manual. Remember those? Yeah, instruction manuals. But the instruction manual's in a language that is made up. You can't understand it. You can just piece little bits together. And I thought that was so cool. It really reminded me of that feeling of when you're a kid getting a new game and reading through the manual and not really understanding what half of the stuff meant because you just didn't know what the words were, or they were made up words because they involved things in the game, and you kind of pieced it together as you were playing, and it really brought that feeling back for me, and I was so excited to feel that again. So I remember when I was a kid going through Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat manuals, and it showed you how to do all their special moves and what they were called, and it really brought back those feelings for me. So I wanted to talk about it because I think that if you're a fan of kind of old games and you miss that nostalgic feeling, but it's hard to go back to some of those games because the gameplay mechanics maybe didn't age well, and you know, the graphics. I'm not somebody who really minds graphics too much, but if you are, it might be hard to go back to an NES game or a Super Nintendo game. Or especially like N64, PS1, those early polygon games. Sometimes it's hard to go back, but Tunic looks incredible. You're a cute little fox, which is really misleading because you think the game's gonna be this cozy, cute game, but it's tough. Like, you gotta pay attention. It reminds me of like Link to the Past a little bit, where you can't just go in sword flailing. You can for some enemies, but you actually have to use a bit of strategy and placement and kind of like an old school game, pick your moments where you go in and attack and then, you know, retreat for a bit, let the boss do what it's gonna do or the enemy do what it's gonna do, and then get back in there. But yeah, it's all about going through, like, piecing together this manual and solving puzzles, and I promise you, if you play not connected to the internet, like, just play it and experience it as sort of a game is meant to be experienced, I would say, without relying on internet and walkthroughs, when you figure something out, you will just feel incredible. I haven't felt that since I was a young boy. Like, it's been such a long time. And to prove this point, I was at a boss fight in the game, and no spoilers, so I'm not going to give anything away, but I was at a boss fight, and luckily the game is pretty generous with checkpoints, so I kept dying at this boss fight. And I wasn't getting frustrated because it doesn't feel unfair. It feels like, okay, I gotta time my stuff better. Okay, I just gotta use a different strategy. So I'm going and I'm trying different strategies over and over and over, and I just keep dying. And I think some of you that have played probably know what boss I'm talking about. But I just kept dying, and then I was like racking my brain, why am I not getting this? And I checked out the manual because I had unlocked a few more pages, and you can't understand a lot of it, but you can piece things together, and gosh, in the manual there is a little hint, and I saw it for the first time and after losing to the boss a whole bunch, and I went back and it turned out there was a weapon that I had missed completely. So I went back, I backtracked like you have to do in these kinds of games sometimes. It took me a while, but I did it, and I got this weapon that I completely missed first time around. And when I came back, the boss was like way easier, and it felt so cool that that happened. Like I wasn't frustrated, I wasn't upset. I just thought that was awesome because that's me. I should have explored more, right? I should have checked the manual. I should have paid more attention. And the difference that made was really like, okay, I really got to rely on this manual, and I really got to pay attention and explore, because the game really rewards exploration. You know, I think that it's probably not a game for everybody in the sense that it doesn't hold your hand. A lot of games will give you a full tutorial. They'll make sure that you have everything you need when you get started. They may even, you know, give you an opportunity if you keep dying to just skip something or make it way easier. And while this game does have accessibility modes where you don't lose health and you don't lose stamina, because it's kind of a stamina system, almost like Dark Souls, although it's not at that level. It's different, but it is reminiscent of it in certain aspects. But the game, there are ways you can make it more accessible in that sense. And there's multiple endings, so I saw 2 different endings based on how you make some decisions and how far you get with your exploration. And there's one puzzle that is kind of encompassing the whole game, and I must have racked my brain for 2 full days trying to figure this out. And Tash, my fiance, came and downstairs, and she saw that I had papers strewn all over the place because I was taking handwritten notes because I didn't want to look anything up at all. So I was taking handwritten notes, trying different things. And again, those of you that played know the puzzle I'm talking about. And I just racked my brain. I couldn't figure it out, and I was getting so upset because I feel like I'm good at puzzles and I just couldn't figure it out. So I had papers all over the place. I took notes by hand. It reminded me of when I played Phantasy Star and we graphed out we drew out the map on graph paper. Like, what a throwback. It was so fun. So I'm getting carried away. Obviously, I love this game. I played through it twice. I would play it again in a heartbeat. It's just so fun. And even when you know the puzzles, you kind of feel like, I know something you don't. And so you want to get out there and play it again. The combat is fun. It's challenging in the right way. I went in thinking I might like it because I didn't know too much. I just saw a couple of you know, articles about it and a couple of videos where people were reviewing it. And I thought, okay, this seems like something that's up my alley. It's like you're just lost in this world and you have to try things. That's the other thing. You have to just try things because nothing is explained to you. You have to just equip something and see what it does. You have to use a weapon and see if it's gonna be good against that enemy. You just have to try, and that's kind of the beauty of games like this. It's that sense of wonder and why I think we all like video games. We're pulled into this world where we don't know what's happening and we have to figure it out. Again, the game does not hold your hand. So if you really like modern games and you really rely on walkthroughs, and I know some people enjoy video games that way, that's fine. If you're somebody like that, you might not like this game because it doesn't give you a clear direction. Like, the story is not super gripping in the sense of, oh, I can relate to this. It's kind of an abstract story. It's got a cool, you know, some cool things happen and you can piece together what's going on again from the manual, but it's not what you'd expect. So yeah, Tunic, I can't recommend it enough. I started this channel because I'm passionate about video games and I love old games, but sometimes a new game comes out, a modern game, and it's just incredible. Again, if you're going to play, don't look anything up if you can avoid it. Just dive in there and see what it's all about. Folks, Tunic, if you have the chance, at least give it a shot. I think you could probably finish it. And it took me 20 hours to get all the achievements, because I got all the achievements for it. But it took me 20 some hours. I think if you just wanted to play it through once and enjoy it, you can probably do 15, but I would say probably 20 hours or so is a fair assessment. That is the time for like one complete playthrough. And then obviously your second time will probably be way faster if you play it again there for like New Game Plus or whatever. I kind of want to even just play it again, just talking about it. I'm so excited. Tunic, I'm very excited. I hope there is a sequel, which of course, as we all know, will be called Three-Nick. Or a prequel, which will be called... Okay, I'll stop. I can't forget Tash's face when she came down and she just saw all the papers around me. Like, I must have looked nuts. Like, just all these papers strewn everywhere, like coffee cups and scribblings with pencil and eraser. Like, geez, what is this game? Yeah, super recommend it. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Tunic review, I don't give it a score. I think it's incredible. So that's my score. It's incredible out of awesome. You know, Tunic, the game kind of just starts. It's so reminiscent of the original Zelda game on the NES where you hit start and the game just begins. You're just there and you can go anywhere. And, you know, there's a cave that invites you in and inside there is a sword. It's so reminiscent of that, and again, it just speaks to the nostalgia and that inner level of you know, people that have been gaming for a long time and have seen the progression and have seen sort of how the internet has shaped gaming, you know, positively or negatively, whatever, but we've seen it, and now to have a game that, you know, that I that I downloaded from such a modern service like GamePass, that's so funny, and give me those old feelings again, it's incredible. Anyway, folks, I've gone on long enough. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I'm aiming to do new videos weekly, so I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a good one, folks, and enjoy Tunic if you play it. Take care now.